So Hive is a project management and collaboration tool, and one of our kind of main focal points is that we are built by our users. So that means that user product request and user feedback and feature ideas are an integral part of our product roadmap. And that started, I think, like in 2020 as the transition to remote and hybrid work began. We kind of realized that we had to change the way that we were operating from a feature rollout perspective, and listening to customers and what they needed as the workforce change was really important. I'm Michaela. I run our branding content team. I also started around the same time Kelly did, so about 5 years. So two of the longest tenured Hive employees at the moment, which is cool. And yeah, I started working in content, just content, and then kind of that evolved into more of a larger marketing role as Hive got bigger. And yeah, now I kind of oversee a lot of our marketing components. I work with mostly with our CMO, Suze, as well as the larger marketing team with product, engineering, and sales. I would say I work with most teams at Hive anytime it comes to external facing, either branding, communication, marketing assets, working with customers. What's actually happened in my role is that when I started at Hive, in like 2018, I was the one sending out a lot of product updates and a lot of newsletters and a lot of emails to customers. So they've kind of like come to associate my name with like product updates and customer facing communication. Since then, Kate has come on our team, who's our product marketing manager, but I still feel like I get a lot of feedback from customers, which is great because they know that I'm a name they've seen for a long time, which is good. But yeah, so we work closely with the product team, obviously, as new releases come out, and we can, work together on how to market them, how to find the right customers to test them, or how to communicate those launches. And then with sales also, obviously, we need to tell them what's coming down the pipe and how they can, leverage that throughout the selling process and how it will affect existing customers. So yeah, I touch a lot of the different teams at Hive, which is great because that means that I can do my job. From a marketing perspective, we use Canny a lot for communication and streamlining product updates. So when Kelly moves things through to completed in Canny, we can see who, number one, who's requested the feature, so we can let them know it's live. We can see who's given feedback on it. If it was something that we should feature, if 100 people have given feedback on it, we should probably feature it in a newsletter, or 500 people or 1,000 people. So it's an easy way for us to tell, get a barometer on what people care about and what we should be talking about from a marketing perspective. And before, we kind of just relied on, like Kelly said, anecdotal feedback, what people would email me, one-offs, and it was hard to have that cohesive look at what customers needed and wanted, which was so important to us. For marketing, there are a few different ways that we use it. I would say that our product marketing manager, Kate, uses it to kind of go in and check on things that have been moved to completed to see what people care about in the newsletter, maybe to go in. And so we send a product newsletter every week. And the things that we feature in that newsletter are largely things that have been voted on in Canny, obviously, because that's what people care about. That's what we want to tell them about. That's what we want to release. And we always include in the newsletter little shout outs to like either the people who requested the features or who voted on it. And so Kate will go into Canny and see who either the original poster was or who's commented the most on it. And that's kind of like a fun way that we try to personalize everything. And then also just we'll get a lot of requests, like I said, just because people see my email, they send me a lot of feedback or questions. And if there's something that either doesn't exist yet, or I know something in Canny is similar, I will find the link and send it to them and say, like, we'd love for you to add your feedback. Let us know if this feature that, customer B wants is something that you would want. And there's a way to kind of like forge that additional community and understand better like how we can fit with what our users need. But yeah, Canny is it's a great tool for understanding overall sentiment as well around features. And there's tagging functionality and, internally that we can see like, okay, this one user is like a super Canny user. They're commenting 6 times a day on things. Maybe we should reach out to them and talk about a case study, or maybe we should get more insight on what they need. So it's a great way to understand also kind of like those levels of engagement and tap into those to, better their experience. The life cycle of sales is different for each, obviously, team, but For a lot of teams, they'll come in and have like 20 requirements that they need, like for a larger enterprise deal. And I know that sales does go in to Canny, sometimes uses like some buzzwords. If there's a specific feature or functionality that they've seen other enterprise teams request, they can go in and see like, oh yeah, we had a similar request come in for this feature. It was completed. We know that it's been updated in the product. And it's like a way to kind of better understand like small use case components of Hive that would make a big difference in the sales process. I know that for people who have larger accounts and they're kind of doing more account management, working in Canny and having customers send them requests as like, hey, this would really help us increase usage of Hive if we had this thing, so for existing customers, helping our sales team understand any areas that customers would need improved. That kind of goes into the CS space as well. But from a sales perspective, Canny is definitely used in the sales cycle as well as after in like the adoption phase. From my perspective, having like historical information about, let's say super user A has voted 2,000 times and they've commented on all these features, and kind of understanding those patterns, I think is really helpful for everyone, like each user that is involved with Hive and Canny, having more information about them available just to see what they care about and how we can help them from that perspective. Just the more intel we have is always helpful from a marketing perspective. So yeah, just being able to see specific voter habits and patterns, and being able to leverage those to either communicate better with that customer or prospect or improve the tool. I also like the ease of use too. It's very simple, like from a release note perspective or from a voting perspective, it's very intuitive, and when I'm training a team member on how to use it or any of those things, it's very simple, which is great because there are a lot of tools that are not like that. We used to have a separate release notes page on our website, but now we just use the Canny release notes, and we have a link out to Canny from Hive. So it's like we have a little help section in the Hive app. You click on that and you go to like product change log or product updates, and you can go right to Canny, which is great because that's another way that we can ensure people are informed about what's happening in the product without having to go in and test everything out for themselves. We found that Canny was saving us between 2 to 3 hours a week on product marketing, and instead of having to go back and forth between cards and Hive and emails and feedback and all of that, just being able to go to Canny and have everything there was an incredible time savings when specifically creating the product newsletter and release notes. The community aspect has been really great, just like building that community. There's not really a value I could associate with it, but just like positive sentiment increases, and building that level of trust between us and customers and future customers. And when people come in and are trialing Hive and they see that we have that, I think it's definitely something that increases our odds of selling. When we were in office, people going over to other people and commenting like, hey, can you check out this customer request or this feature idea, blah, blah, blah. I think it gives us a sense of like, we work in Hive all day. Hive is project management productivity tool, and it's amazing. But I think to have this other like central source of product update truth and information and customer feedback is really great. And the way that we've been able to kind of connect them has been really helpful, and kind of help fosters that like feedback loop, not only externally, but internally. It's like, so the sales team feels that product is listening to them, and product feels that marketing is listening to them. And there's that kind of enhanced communication flow internally, even though we're hybrid and remote. Like we have people in office, but for the most part, a lot of us are working from home.